Welcome to Reality with Kiki. I'm your host, Kiki, and on this channel, we discuss reality TV, celebrity gossip, and viral topics. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like our content. You can also follow us on our Facebook page. A link will be in the description box below, and we also have it linked in our bio. Okay, so Real Housewives of Potomac. So we start this episode off with Mia. She's packing. Her and G are packing for the trip. G is not really interested in going. He's like, I don't really care for it, but I'm gonna go to support you. And she's like, okay, like it'll be fun. Just let's go. And G is like, well, when I go out and I get out, I start to get a little bit comfortable. So Mia says that her mom is gonna watch the kids while they go on vacation, and this is the first time that she's like been with the kids from consecutive nights watching them by herself. So, it seems like Mia has a close relationship with her children. Her youngest son, he even started crying because he's like he doesn't want them to go on a trip. He wants to come with them. He don't want to stay with grandma. Mia consoles him. It was cute. So Mia continues the conversation with G. Just warning him there is some tension in the group, and she says that she's willing to have a conversation with Candace if she's willing to, but if she wants to stay in high school, then we can go all the way back to high school and keep going tit for tat. So we switch scenes to Candace and Chris, and she said, "Oh, we only have 30 minutes to talk about business because I guess they have some type of thing going on where they don't speak about business after 5," which is like, okay, understood, whatever, because Chris is supposed to be her husbander. And she was talking about how she needs to sign a deal like yesterday, and they want to, there's a particular company that she wants to work with. So Chris is like, yeah, we got this, and that going on. We're going to get this video back and all of this. They talking business, whatever. So he was like to Candace, I'm gonna be asking a lot of questions, so you can't like get upset with that. And she's like, well, I may cuss you out and blah blah blah. And it's just like, girl, no. If you're gonna let your husband be your manager, then you need to let him be your manager and give him the same respect that you would give somebody else. Or maybe you wouldn't give somebody the respect, but you know that that's your husband and he not going anywhere versus a person who you're not connected to or related to. They could just walk away from you and just fire you as a client. But you still need to give him that respect. Like, that's not okay. Be professional. So Candace goes on to tell Chris about the confrontation that she had with Mia at Robin and Giselle's party. And she's just like, yes, I asked her, did she go up to my mother who she didn't know, asking about if my husband is on payroll? And she said my video was low budget. So I said her mother is low budget. And I just have come to the conclusion that every time she feels intimidated, she's projecting her insecurities. Nobody wants a big old leaky booty, no big old leaky lips, and a botched clitoris. Nobody's intimidated by a size 14 foot. And maybe you should be intimidated, Candace, because as we saw last season, you can't defend yourself. So if that size 14 foot went up your ass, what you gonna do? But here is just like she's saying all these things, and this is like you're trying to do all these reads. The whole little thing with the projector is corny to me. But like because Chris is a more mature man, she's saying all these things, and he's just like no reaction. Like, what do you get out of saying some of the things that you do? It's just it's a bit extreme at like how you're describing her.
All right, so Ashley goes to visit Robin at her townhouse and her messed up, dirty teapot on the stove. And they start to discuss the party from last week and how Candace called Mia's mother low budget. And then they get into the back and forth between Wendy and Robin and Giselle. And Robin is like, "Oh, Wendy is an asshole. Every time I don't agree with her, it turns into an argument." Where was she arguing with you? The facts are the facts, okay? So when she comes at you with facts, she's an asshole for that. But when people do name calling and all this other stuff, they're not assholes? Like, so Ashley's like, "Oh, I was hoping that you guys will be able to discuss on this trip, but then I get these text messages." And they cut to Giselle and her nasty text message about how she doesn't feel welcome, so she's not coming to the little vacation, little getaway, and they show her getting her kitchen perm by her stylist. And I'm just like, you know what? Just looking at that location and him putting that perm in her hair, that it's just very reflective of how her hairstyles come out. Like, you look like you get your hair done by a kitchen stylist, and you've been on this show 6 seasons. You can't hire somebody to really, really lay your hair, or maybe he was dyeing her hair. Either way, the the hairstyles be coming out a mess, and she is like, "Oh, I don't understand why somebody who is being nasty to someone would invite them to spend time with them." And it's like, girl, you just did the same thing. So why are you confused? You were nasty to Wendy. You were trying to spread rumors about her husband. Even after she asked you to not talk about her husband and she told you that she will drag you for doing so, you continue to bring up her husband. You continue to bring up her body. And you continue to say that she was insecure. And since we're talking about projection, Candace, Giselle is enough, like, the biggest projector. If anybody is insecure, it's you. You're insecure about not having a man. You're insecure about other people having confidence in themselves.
And people could say, "Oh, she's so beautiful, she's so that this, she's so that," but that doesn't mean that somebody feels beautiful, no matter how many people are telling them that they're beautiful. And I mean, I do think that she is male centered because you let that pastor drag you to hell and back, and you will still stick it beside him. Eventually, you divorced him, but that shows how much or how low of self worth you have. The things that you let him put you through, and you stood there and let it happen. But anyway, back to the text message. So she sent this whole text message, this long text. I wouldn't even read it had I been Wendy. Like, girl, I don't care. Either you coming or you not. I don't need an explanation. Nobody really wants you there anyway. Robin is like, "Oh, I don't blame her." Yeah, because anything that Giselle do, you want to do. You up her butt so much. It's making me uncomfortable.
So in the text thread, it shows that Robin proceeds to say, "Oh, thanks for coming to our party. Enjoy your trip," insinuating that she's not coming. So Ashley is like, "Oh, we could all go as a throuple because Michael's not coming." And Robin is like, "I don't feel comfortable about around Wendy. If I tell her that her shoes untied, she's gonna go off on me. And I just don't like how you're trying to paint this woman like she just attacks you out of nowhere. Every time Wendy read you down, you were jumping in something that had nothing to do with you. You were jumping to defend Giselle, and you got caught in the crossfire because you couldn't mind your business. That is not a personal attack. If you mind your business, nobody would say anything to you because you're like a bump on a log until Giselle puts a battery in your back for you to feel like you need to be jumping in something or saying something. Girl, shut up. So Ashley's like, "I just want you guys to come." And Robin is like, "How are you being an advocate?" And Ashley's like, "I don't really care about Wendy. I just want you guys to come for me because you're going to be by yourself." And so then Robin continues to say that Wendy's just been so cold and dismissive about her relationship. Girl, what relationship? What relationship? when y'all just were trying to bring up rumors about her family, her husband, and the things she got going on, and you think that somebody is supposed to give a damn about what you got going on or the lack thereof? Because we don't never seen Juan, and when he is around, he's usually saying something negative. He not being lovey. He not being romantic. He's telling you how you're unattractive because you won't get out the bed. He's telling you how he would be nicer and softer towards you if you gave him a daughter. Girl. So anyway, they tried to be shady, and I'm sure that this wasn't the response that they were expecting, but Wendy responded to them, okay, well, the offer still stands. I will be packing positivity and some other stuff. Like, she just was not feeding into their nonsense. She's like, we're gonna have this trip whether y'all here or not, and we're gonna have a good time. Ain't nobody stressed or worried about you. Okay, so then we move on to the trip. So obviously Wendy and Eddie uh show up first because they're hosting the getaway, and so Wendy says she picked a house that has enough rooms for everybody. So everybody will have a room. There should be no issues. Nobody's gonna be sent off to the slave quarters like Miss Candace had them do at that house in Virginia. So everybody should be fine. Mia and G are the first people to show up. Wendy has some baskets ready for everybody who comes on the vacation. They get out the car and G is like, "Oh, valet," and Mia's like, "Well, maybe they'll have somebody to come carry these bags," because G is like, "Oh, I'm supposed to carry my own bags." G, are you incapable of carrying things? I know you're a little bit older, but you're still able-bodied, ain't you? So Gordon, aka G, decides to start handing his key to Eddie like he's the valet, and I'm like, not you trying to hand your keys over to Idris, honey. So anyway, they go to the bar and starting to get the party started. Wendy lets them know that the motto for the weekend is good vibes only, aka GVO. And as they're drinking, G starts chanting GVO and gets everybody else to join in. All right, so Chris and Candace show up, and I don't know if I said this up here before, but people who sing all the time, like whether they can sing or not, it is irritating to me. It irritates my soul. Just like, why are you doing that? So Candace comes in the house and is singing as she comes in. So she's already on 1,000. And my thing with Candace is it's just like, you got a little yin 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 singing voice around the house, but baby, you not blowing me away. So why do you feel like you need to be singing at every turn? And like when they were at the little podcast launch party, when everybody was arguing, she started belting out, and it was just like making everything way more chaotic, and just like ringing my eardrums. Like, please, please stop. So she meets Mia because Mia's in the front of the house, and that's the first person she sees, and she's asking where everybody else is at. Mia's like, they're in there, and she starts going in on Mia like about how she's the Jolly Green Giant, and she's gonna put a crack in the foundation of the house, and she got these big old feet and all of this stuff. And here is the thing: I just like I don't like when people will call like a black woman aggressive because of the way that she's talking. Maybe she's passionate about a topic. I also don't like when people are constantly picking at women who are like taller or may have bigger feet, and they probably have bigger feet because they are taller, because you're masculinizing them just like you're doing with a woman when you're saying she's aggressive, she's combative, and all of these things. She is just being her, minding her business in her tallness, and you are constantly like going at her feet, saying she's a Jolly Green Giant, like all of these things. And it's just like, baby, everybody don't want to look like Miss Polly Pocket. Like, all right, so obviously they're taking shots. Candace and Chris get welcome shots, and G is starting to turn up. Wendy, dropping it high a little bit. G pulling out 20s on with some who got change for a 20. I'm about to make it rain. Okay, so then G goes on to say how he's a strip club connoisseur. but he doesn't take an interest in it like that anymore. He just goes because Mia wants to go. She's the one who's interested. And he lets Mia pick out the girls, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Mia goes on to say that G likes white girls. And everybody's like, huh? What? And Chris says he likes black women. Eddie said he need his chocolate. G screams out, "Where the white woman at?" And is making like these, I don't know what to call it. Like he's gyrating and sticking his tongue out. I don't know. He doing a lot. He doing a bit more than turning up. Okay. And Candace is sitting over there like, "Woo, child." And I'm just like, yeah, Mia, I don't know if this is a good idea because this girl gonna use this as ammunition against you. But good luck. Anyway, Wendy is a little bit disturbed by the movements that G is making and the things that he's screaming out, and then a scholar and her husband shows up. All right, so Dre and a scholar take their welcome shot. Wendy, is welcoming them into the house with excitement. Uh, Everybody's kind of like, going off. A scholar and Candace are going to check the rooms out. G comes back in the house because he was taking a little break outside. He need one. He need to go lay down a little bit, let some of that alcohol wear off. But he comes back in to put on speaker. I don't know. I guess the people at Mercedes because Mia has a custom G wagon that's coming, and he wanted everybody to know. It was a little bit cringe worthy, but it's just kind of like whatever. It's not cringy to the point that like it's offensive. And Wendy was like, "Oh, where my truck at? Where my truck at?" And I was like, "I know that's right, girl." So the truck is a anniversary gift. So they switched to a Skylar and Candace in the room. Candace is trying to give her a briefing on what happened before she got there, talking about G, talking about Mia, comparing G to Michael, saying he reminds her of Michael. He's doing a bit much. When he comes upstairs and asks him what they're talking about, she's like, "Oh, we're talking about, Mia and G." A scholar calls him Captain Save-A-Hole. A scholar is putting her opinion a lot into this, and it's just like, you're getting secondhand information. You didn't see this stuff for yourself. Now, I'm not saying that what Candace said was a lie or she was far off, but how are you going to analyze the situation that you weren't in, that you didn't see for yourself? But I thought that was a bit much. So Wendy joins in and she's just like, yeah, he told her to shut the F up. Like, what's going on? A scholar's like, oh, it must be something else going on at home. And it's just like, maybe not. So Mia finds her way to the room and she's just like, what are you guys talking about? Right now, everybody trying to shut up except for Wendy. And Wendy's like, oh, we were talking about you. And they start to go into it. And Candace is like, oh, did G tell you to, did your husband tell you to shut the F up? And she's like, yeah, what's wrong with that? Now, if she don't see a problem with it, why are you so offended? Mind your business. So then Candace goes on to say, like, oh, me and my husband, we talk to each other crazy, but we don't do that in front of mixed company. And it's like, okay, girl, so prim and proper, aren't you? So Wendy proceeds to say to me, I'm thinking that this is a place where we will be able to work things out. Everybody will be able to get through whatever issues they have, not just between you and Candace. And she goes on to say, I didn't tell them anything, but because of the things that you went through with your mom. And Candace is like, okay, so what does that have to do with me? She said, because of the comments you made, the yo mama stuff. And then she was like, well, I was saying that in response to what you said about my mother. Nobody said anything about your mother. What are you talking about? So Mia was basically like explaining herself of like what happened at the at the video shoot because Candace was like, that was in response to what you said to my mom. And Mia was just like, well, I was trying to identify the problem, what was going on. That's the only reason I was asking your mom questions. That's somebody that I would aspire to be to. And Candace is like, okay, well, she wasn't found in the strip club. Now, I don't know what Dorothy does that would make you feel inspired, Mia, but Candace, you need to relax because don't nobody really want to be like Dusty Dorothy, okay? Embarrassing her daughter on TV every chance she get. Please. She didn't attack your mother. She attacked you. So you should have been saying something to her. But it still was just like, Mia was coming from a place like, I'm willing to have the conversation, and you still took it there because what was the point of saying she wasn't found in the strip club? And I just like how Mia is just like letting it roll off her back. Like, you're not going to try to shame me. She said, yep, I sure did. Was in a strip club, made a whole bunch of money. And Candace, like, I'm sure you did. I'm sure G made it rain on you. And did. So Candace is like, you call my video low budget again. Blah, 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 whatever. Mia's like, you need to take constructive criticism. Scarlett's like, this is not a business meeting. We're not in business. We're supposed to be friends having fun. Blah blah blah. Scarlett, you for right now, you need to just sit over there and eat your food. Just shut it up for right now, cause this don't even got nothing to do with you. And my thing is, it's just like you feeling some type of way, Candace, but like since Wendy's been up here and y'all supposed to be friends, like you really have not defended her. The only one time you did defend her is when they try to say that she was shady for telling you about what Mia was talking about with your mother to you at the video shoot. Outside of that, you don't really have her back. So I don't even know why you feeling some type of way. And it couldn't be me because I would have been like, you want to talk about mothers? You want to talk about mothers? And then you go on to talk about her feet being big and all of this stuff. And baby, first of all, let's just get the mother thing out the way. I don't play about my mama. So I don't care if you saying lies, spewing lies. I'm going to go crazy on you. I can't say the things that I would say to her up here because I don't want my channel getting taken down. But baby, you don't come from my mother. And then as far as the feet thing, you're doing it again. That big old foot would have kicked her right on the floor because I'm not going back and forth with you anymore. Like it's done here. You're not saying anything of any importance. Um, you want to attack me and my mother. So so Mia is not really giving Candace reactions. She's like, "What's wrong with my feet? I like my feet. God gave me these feet, these big ass feet." And Candace is like, "God made you basic also." So I'm just like, I don't know if you're the person to really be saying whether somebody is basic or not. All right, so after they're able to cool things down, Wendy goes through how she wants people to pick rooms. So she said she want Karen and Escala to pick first because the last trip they had to stay in the cottage, aka the slave quarters. And then she said she knows it takes Ashley a lot to be here, being that she just had a baby, so she let her pick her room next. And then it was down to Mia and Candace. And I could see in her face, I'm pretty sure that Candace was expecting for her to be able to pick her room before Mia. But plot twist, Wendy said, Mia, you can pick your room next, and Candace, your last. And Candace was like, oh, this is shade, blah, 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 because I put her in the college. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wendy, get your lick back because you know you are dead wrong for that. You should not have had her in that cottage. Well, after that whole situation, Ashley, of course, because she wants to get the tea and figure out what's going on, she asks Mia, oh, what's going on? Are you okay? Mia's like, no, this girl is mean. Candace is like, I'm standing right here, so if you're gonna talk about me, you might as well invite me into the conversation. And Mia's just basically like, well, you can come. I'm a grown woman, and I'm not afraid of you. So come on, let's have the conversation. Candace proceeds to tell Mia that the real issue is that she needs to go to therapy because she has an issue with people who are not on her level. And I'm just like, really? Is that coming from a Miss? I lived on a golf course growing up because you have been calling women hood rats and ghetto bitches and all of this stuff as if you are elevated, but you have a problem when Mia talks about business or Mia talks about I'm up here and I am a CEO and I'm a boss bitch. Now it's a problem. And a scholar starts screaming classism, and I don't even understand the point of that, right? Like on one instance, on one hand, it can be annoying if somebody's constantly reminding you about their money, but at the same time, like people who have money when they're around their friends, that's what they do. We talk about what we got and what we got going on. I'm not saying me personally, but what I'm saying is that's what they do. So I'm not really seeing the issue. Why is that offensive to you? So Mia responds and she's talking with her hands, and Candace is like, "Don't do the hands." You and Mia's like, "What are you gonna do about it?" Because she's like, "Oh, you did that to this one." Okay, she talks with her hands. If you don't want her hands in your face, you said she got big feet, big hands, big body, tall, all of this stuff. Get out her face. Get out of her face. Back up. Give her 6 feet, and you should be just fine. And she's like, "Oh, you just got here, and you barely made it in. According to who? What are you running over here? Because you are not the leader of the girls over here. So what are you running?" So of course they start arguing. She starts to uh try to shame me again. Like the sex work shaming, I'm not really feeling. You calling her a night walker, saying she need to get her pimp, all of these things. It's just like you talk about the things that she's done in a negative light, and I don't appreciate that because women who choose or maybe not choose and are forced into like sex work, right? They're doing what they need to do in order to survive. And Mia is open about everything that she does. It wasn't like she's trying to hide anything. I mean, she lied in the beginning, but eventually it came out and she admitted to whatever it was that she was doing. So how are you trying to shame somebody who's open and honest about their truth? That doesn't make sense to me. But also just like the sex work shaming is out of order. So she's saying that Mia is disrespectful. Somebody needs to tell her about herself, and it's just like it's giving the Spider-Man meme. Like, babe, you're looking in the mirror. So Mia's like, "Pimp, where you at?" Blah blah blah. She goes to get G. G is just smiling in his drunken stupor, and she Candace is like, "You need to feed her." Throws salad her way, and Mia and her starts going into it. And Mia says something about her video being low budget. She said, "Your mama's low budget again." Now people are coming to Mia's defense, like, absolutely not. Like, that's not okay. Karen is like, "Do you know about her mother? Do you know about her mother?" And she's just like, "No, no, no. You do know because they just told you. And you didn't do it again. Not once, but twice. You did it again." And that's pretty much how the scene ends. Mia We're gonna see
tosses
the
what's coming.
salad back at Candace. Um, it's just interesting because the Candace stands I seen, like especially on Twitter, like, oh, when we first saw clips of the salad toss, everybody was like, "Here we go again. Candace getting into something again. Like she's the common denominator." And her stands were like, "Oh, you don't know what happened. She didn't throw anything. That was all Mia. Blah blah blah. Y'all think it's okay for women to be hit with things and be abused when it's just like this show improved that she was the one that tossed salad first, and y'all still look to defend the bad behavior. But you know what? It's fine." So let me know down in the comments how you would react if somebody says something about your mother or says she low budget. I would like to hear y'all thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this content, and I will talk to you next time.